Oh, God.
Yeah.
My wife wasn't born yet in 1990 either, Vince, okay? So relax.
How old's your wife?
29.
Oh.
So 91. Yeah.
Got it.
Damn, you're a pervert, bro.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 38 of Birds vs. Boys, the final episode of the year 2020. The year 2050 is closer than 1990, which scares the absolute living shit out of me. But we need to end this year the only way we know how, Aidan, correct? Drinking.
Well, yeah. We started with stateside vodka. Might as well end it with stateside vodka. New Year's Eve. Look, if you're drinking something, I'm drinking stateside vodka. I know we don't really get to go out to the bars like we're used to, so you got to stock up at home. So Kevin's making a drink. I've had mine ready. Buddy, if you've watched 17 weeks of the Eagles offense, you're going to go ahead and have a drink pre-made for the show.
That is very true.
I'll let him make his drink. We'll get into it. It's kind of a laid-back show of sorts. I'm out of the playoffs. I've been depressed for 26 years.
Eliminated
Aidan. Now, what we do have coming up is a great interview with Lance Medow. So if you remember, we had him on at about the halfway point of the year. And it was pretty perfect because at the time, the Eagles and the Giants were playing. The Cowboys were kind of in flux. And we covered anything and everything in the NFC East, which was kind of heated because of how bad they were.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the end, and it's generated so much intrigue because they've been so bad. Somebody has to win this thing, and we have reached the pinnacle of it. So we had Lance back on to talk about it, and again, he did a phenomenal job with it.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun talking with him once again. He did say last time he was on with us, I don't just have to talk Giants just because I do pre-post and have a daily show I'll talk everything. And we held him to it, and he did. We talked everything NFC East. We talked outside of the division. So another A-plus interview that you could listen to right now. So check out the interview with Lance Medow. Really excited to be joined by a good friend of the program. As always, you can catch him on SiriusXM, Giants pre, half, and post. And he's a must-follow on Twitter, at Lance Medow, one word, last name Medow. I think I got that right. And this week, Aidan said, I figure I know the best guest that we should have on this week with the NFC East in kind of shambles, but at the same time, big intrigue. Because last time you were on with us, Lance, I think you said something like this.
I always welcome interaction from all NFC East fans because I cover the NFL, so I don't shy away. It doesn't have to be just a Giants-centric conversation. You want to talk Washington, you want to talk Philly, you want to talk Dallas, come at me. I'm all game.
So that's exactly why we welcome you back today, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing very well, guys, and I'm a man of my word, okay? I'm back. I'm ready to go around the entire NFC East. I'm doing very well. I hope you and yours are safe and healthy, too.
Thank you. Yeah, I said, like I said to Kevin, this is the perfect guest the way it went last time. So we're going to pepper you with a lot of NFC East questions, but that seems to be the most intriguing spot somehow, ironically. So let's start in Washington. I'm sure we'll get to your Giants in a little bit, but the Dwayne Haskins situation, do you think they can survive this? And because they have the simplest route, win and you're in. Do you think they can survive the drama that's been created in that situation? Or do you think they're kind of folding up shop at this point?
No, I don't really think it's going to serve as a distraction, mainly because of the fact that Haskins started off as the starter and then went all the way to the third on the depth chart. So he essentially was just filling in guys for Alex Smith, who's dealing with a calf injury. But I think the team knows when Alex Smith is healthy, which could very well be this Sunday, that Alex Smith is the quarterback. And Taylor Heineke performed actually pretty well when he replaced Dwayne Haskins in the second half against Carolina. So I think if you look at the makeup of this team, how well the defense is playing, which has really been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, I don't think there's any concerns about outside factors or the fact that the team released one of their prime prospects a week heading into arguably their most important game of the season. I really don't think it's going to take a toll on this team. I think it's a matter of the offense needing to head in the right direction to take some pressure off of a defense, which has been very effective. You look at their last two losses, they lost 20-15 to the Seahawks, and they lost 20-13 to the Panthers. So, guys, the defense allowed 20 points. And actually, technically, remember, Carolina scored a special teams touchdown. So they actually only gave up 13 points, right, to the Carolina Panthers. Your defense performs like that, you're not worried. You're just saying, hey, guys on offense, protect the football and keep us in the game. And if Heineke and Alex Smith is one of the options, which clearly it's going to be, I think that certainly increases their chances of walking away with a W on Sunday.
Yeah, they really just need adequate offense.
Sure.
You don't have to be the Chiefs. You don't have to be this high-powered machine. Just enough. And Alex Smith has always been labeled a game manager, but it almost feels like in this sense, this is the perfect role for him because that's really all they need to win this division at this point.
100%. Take care of the ball. Take advantage of maybe good field position that you get as a result of the defense, which has been very steady, very opportunistic. And even though Alex Smith has had that label, as you pointed out, Aidan, as game manager, I really don't think that that's necessarily a knock on any quarterback. All quarterbacks manage the game, don't they? I mean, the goal is, right, orchestrate the offense, protect the football, and get your team down the field and score touchdowns. So Alex Smith has actually thrived in that role, and you could tell that a guy like that is actually 10 times more appreciated when you go to a guy like Dwayne Haskins, who doesn't do that, who turns the ball over, who has interceptions left and right. Then you start to really respect what a guy like Alex Smith can do for your offense. And I hope that maybe the rest of the NFL landscape realizes this is no longer a great story that he's back on the field. And I'm not trying to take anything away from that. It's a heck of a story. But this is a professional quarterback who has done a heck of a job even before that significant leg injury and probably never got enough credit. You go back to when Harbaugh and Greg Roman came along with San Francisco and then what he did in Kansas City before they drafted Mahomes. I always thought you could do 10 times worse than having Alex Smith as your starting quarterback. He actually has risen to the occasion. The problem is he's just never been flashy. But you know what? You don't need to be flashy to win football games. Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl at the end of his career with Denver, and he was far from flashy at that stage in his career. So I would like to see Alex Smith get back on the field Sunday. And if he does get back on the field and he can help his team win a division, not only once again would it be one of the great comeback stories, but it would further prove that he's more than capable of operating when he's got talent around him and a good defense, which he showed when he was in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's almost like a time and place thing with him. The only thing that knocked him off his game is, they brought in Kaepernick, who led them to the Super Bowl, and then he got replaced with Patrick Mahomes, who's a generational talent. So for him, you're right. It's more than just a story. He's always been a great quarterback. He's just been replaced by guys who are in the prime of their careers and have been elite. So let's flip over to the other two teams in the division. So Giants and Cowboys playing this week. I re-listened to our show today from a few weeks ago where we were like in the middle of the season. And the words you used to describe the Cowboys were they were the most intriguing. And you said that the Giants were the most dangerous. Mm-hmm. So do you think those descriptives still fit? Or do you think those descriptives have kind of flipped with those teams right now?
Yeah, I think to a certain degree, Aidan, they flipped because of the fact that Dallas right now is playing its best football. So when you're playing your best football and the timing couldn't have been any better, I think you then take on the label of dangerous. The Giants, when we were having that conversation, remember, were right in the midst of their winning streak, if memory serves me correctly, and the defense had started to turn the corner. Now, granted, the defense is still very well respected, but the offense has struggled to put points on the board. So until the offense proves that they can take some pressure off of the defense and meet the defense halfway, it's hard to put the label of dangerous and have that be synonymous with the Giants. I think the Cowboys carry that label a lot better right now because Andy Dalton is protecting the football. The team overall is protecting the football. And I said, I believe when we last met, was that if the Cowboys could get out of their own way and stop turning the ball over, you're going to start to see the true colors of this team and how they can operate. And what have we seen, guys, with respect to their offense? They're averaging 36 points per game, right, in the last 3 games. The defense now is not in that precarious situation where they've got their backs against the wall every time the offense turns the ball over. So Dallas is starting to show its true colors. And that's why I do think this team is more than intriguing. I think they're dangerous. I think the Giants are certainly intriguing because the fact that they're in this position says a lot about how the Giants have come along this season, how far they have come along in terms of the injuries, the fact that this defense didn't have a lot of expectations, especially if you were to ask me, with not a great pass rusher on the roster, but the secondary has done a really good job. Patrick Graham, their defensive coordinator, has been very savvy in terms of his game planning. The million-dollar question heading into Sunday's game, though, with the Giants is this the game that they can score in the ballpark of what they did in week 5? Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, the high for their season was 34. The game, coincidentally, when they played the Cowboys. But, guys, it's important to point out, and I've been telling Giants fans this throughout the course of the last few days, Kyler Fackrell had a pick 6 in that game. So, technically, the offense only scored 27. Okay, let's peel back the layers even more. Of those 27 points, they got a touchdown when they got the ball right in the red zone because Andy Dalton fumbled the snap. Yep. So Devontae Freeman scored after they took over on the Dallas 17-yard line. So how many times did the Giants offense actually march down the field and have to then punch it in? The answer is once, okay? That was the Evan Ingram rushing touchdown right at the beginning of the game. Yeah. After that, it still was a struggle to manufacture points. They had to settle for field goals. And guys, that really has been what has defined this Giants team all season long. So it's once again hard to put them in the dangerous category. And I know I gave you a long answer, but it's very hard to put them back under that label if the offense has struggled to put points on the board.
Yeah, and let's stick with that because that was actually my next question about the Giants offense. So they've fallen off a little bit lately, but they were also starting a backup quarterback in Colt McCoy. Daniel Jones is back, but, what do you expect from him in his first almost real playoff atmosphere in a Week 17 almost win and you're in type of game? What do you expect from him in this situation?
Well, the nerves have never gotten to Daniel Jones, guys, so I don't think that this environment's going to be overwhelming. He has been playing without fans for the majority of the season, so I don't think they're worried about making adjustments from that standpoint. To me, when it comes to Daniel Jones at this stage, it's all about execution. It's all about his decision-making, and I think he's made improvements in that department. I think early in the season, he had the mindset, I have to put the cape on. I have to play superhero because I'm missing a lot of my personnel. I'm missing some key playmakers, and I need to overcome that. I think now he's come to the realization, okay, let me take a step back. I don't need to do everything. Be smart, protect the football. But what's happening now is the fact that he's coming back from the ankle and the hamstring injury is that he's not as big of a threat, guys, to run as much as he was prior to the injury. Now, interestingly, he had a media session with reporters earlier today, and somebody asked him, well, how are you feeling, or have you had to adjust how you operate the offense? And this was the first time that he came out and he said, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't think I'm that big of a threat to run anymore because I have had to make slight adjustments. Now, we have to also maybe take that with a grain of salt. I think it's the mind games. You want Dallas to think you're not running. Guys, would I be surprised if he then comes out and he runs the ball 5 or 6 times on Sunday? No. So, put as much stock as you want into that statement as you'd like. However, with that being said, I do think there is some validity because let's look at the numbers. He's only run 1 time over the last few games. That was for 3 yards against Baltimore. That was it. So I think they're looking to lean on the Wayne Goldmans, the Alfred Morrises of the world. So that's why when you look at this Sunday's game and you talk about, well, how is he going to react or how is he going to be able to adjust the environment, it then falls more on his decision-making and how he tries to get receivers to be on the same page with him. When does he take shots down the field? The Giants haven't had a lot of explosive plays. Those are the things that I think you're looking for out of Daniel Jones, not to necessarily think he's got to make something out of nothing all the time, but how can he put his playmakers in good spots and how can he try to find openings in this Dallas defense, which has not been a juggernaut throughout the course of this season, but has played much better as of late. So I think those are the things you're looking for as you monitor what Daniel Jones has gone through over the course of this season.
And I also think a big thing for Daniel Jones this weekend is going to be that offensive line, because on the one side, you got 90, you have DeMarcus Lawrence, but you could kind of see the Eagles took him out of the game. They were double teaming him, they were tripling him. Ertz was chipping him every time he was coming off the line. But Randy Gregory has shown that he is becoming a beast in this league, and he has that speed. And what do we know that happens to Daniel Jones? He fumbles the ball a lot. And we saw that last week with Hurts, with Gregory coming off the edge with the speed. So I think that is going to be huge. Can they stop DeMarcus Lawrence, but can they also stop Randy Gregory? Because if he's screaming off the edge, taking Daniel Jones from behind, one or two of those fumbles, that could be the ball game right there for the Cowboys.
100%. I think that's a perfect synopsis of what Daniel Jones also has to deal with, because of the fact that, take into consideration, Daniel Jones and the other Giants quarterbacks, because it's not just Daniel Jones, they've taken 15 sacks during this 3-game losing streak. The Cardinals feasted. When you look at what Hassan Reddick did, he had 5 of the team's 8 sacks. Baltimore just had 6. Okay, there was only 1 in the Cleveland game. But still, once again, pass protection has been a concern. And you're right. Dallas is going to bring some stunts. They're going to test that Giants offensive line. And they're going to see whether or not these guys can handle the pressure. And then, of course, that comes with, okay, is Daniel Jones going to take the sack? Is he going to throw the ball away? Is he going to hold on to it? Because when he's held on to the ball previously, to your point, he has given the opposition an opportunity to not just bring him down, but also poke the ball away. And I think credit belongs to Daniel Jones. He's done a very good job as of late protecting the ball and not making those type of decisions, where he just seems to be a little bit more comfortable in how to react. And I think he understands also, just based on the amount of sacks he took in the Baltimore game, hey, ball security is more important than trying to create something when the pass protection breaks down. But I agree. I think that's going to be a significant storyline. I'm sure Dallas has been monitoring what Baltimore and Arizona did. And guys, it's a copycat league, right?
Of course.
You want to see whether or not the Giants can now adjust. Did they make those necessary adjustments so that they can handle themselves against the Cowboys? So that is absolutely something to watch. Play in the trenches has defined the Giants during this 3-game losing streak. They've had trouble in terms of protecting the quarterback. And then on the flip side, they haven't touched barely the opposing quarterback. So also, just to bring it back full circle here, if I'm Andy Dalton and the Cowboys, I'm also saying to myself, hey, maybe we're going to have a little bit more time to survey the field compared to some of the previous weeks, because the Giants have not piled up the sacks. They actually had no sacks, guys, against Baltimore. That was the first time this season they had not recorded at least 1 sack. And then prior to that, the sacks have been far and few. So, that's another area. Can the Giants generate pressure against a very strong Dallas offense that has been able to put points on the board as of late?
And a big reason that they've been able to is finally this backup offensive line across the board has been gelling. Obviously, they've had both their tackles out, guard, their center. So these guys have been in and out. Martin then gets hurt. So finally, these guys for the last few games have been all playing together, something the Eagles don't know about because they were switching guys in and out too all season. But these guys have finally played a few games together, and that's a reason why they've been winning some games and putting up points. But another storyline in this game, and maybe it's more media blown out, I want to know from you. It's a Jason Garrett revenge game, right? He's been there. This is his first year as the offensive coordinator. So 2 questions. Do you think he sees it that way? Do you think the Giants offense are going to rally around him to try and end the Cowboys season, or that's just us media people blowing it out of proportion? And 2, do you think he is still with the Giants organization next year? Because there was rumblings about him and Joe Judge, and I wrote a joking blog this week saying that Kellen Moore is going to go to Boise State. Garrett's going to leave the Giants. Jerry's going to bring him back to be their OC. And then in 2022, he's back as the Dallas head coach, because that is the cycle we live in as Cowboys fans.
Wow, boy, that is some conspiracy theory you got going. I don't know. I think I may need about a few seconds just to digest all that you threw my way. That would be some comeback story in its own right. As far as the rumblings and so forth, I think a lot of that, the reason why that came to light was, if you remember, the Giants made a change on the offensive line in terms of their coaching staff. And Mark Colombo, who was with Jason Garrett, he was removed, and Dave DeGuglielmo was brought in. And I think that created people to start saying, well, Colombo was brought in because of his ties to Garrett. So what does this mean? To me, Garrett is not back with the Giants if another head coaching gig comes to fruition and somebody's interested and he goes for an interview and he feels it's a good match. I think that would be the first reason, guys, why Garrett wouldn't be back. I think as far as the relationship and so forth, I think a lot is made of that. And here's the other thing that Joe Judge has to be careful about in terms of let's go down the path, okay, that you opened up the Pandora's box. Let's go down that road here for a second, okay? I'll give you some food for thought. Daniel Jones has been now operating in 3 different offenses in the span of 3 years, guys, okay? He had Duke, he had Pat Shurmur and Mike Shula last season, and now he has Jason Garrett. If you're the Giants, if you're Joe Judge, do you really want to now say to your quarterback, who you believe is your franchise guy, who you have a lot of faith in, and you feel still has a tremendous amount of upside as long as you could create stability? Do you want to now present a situation where he's going to now have 4 different offensive coordinators, 4 different offenses in the span of as many seasons? You know who comes to mind as we now connect the dots in this conversation? Alex Smith. Mm-hmm. Alex Smith had, 7 different offensive coordinators in his first 7 seasons in San Francisco. Why did it take so long, guys, for him to finally get going? Because of that. So I think the Giants need to think about that. So, when we start thinking about, well, maybe they move on from Jason Garrett, it's one thing if Garrett gets another coaching gig. You can't control that, okay? You can't deny a guy if he wants to be a head coach again. I'm sure he does. But it's another thing to then make the change for the sake of change. And I don't think the Giants would be wise to do that because I think you have to think about, you need to finally give Daniel Jones an environment where every single year he's not learning a new offense. Mm-hmm. So that, I hope, answers your first question. Now,
it doesn't. It makes me happy.
There you go. Okay, I'm here to make you guys happy. Forget about what's going to happen in reality. I'm just here to appease the 2 of you. So I'm glad that we were able to tackle that. Yes, no problem. My pleasure. In terms of the revenge game, and I chuckled when you said that because it's hysterical. I feel like there's been so many Giants revenge games over the last few weeks, guys, because, just to backpedal here, there were a number of former Giants on the Arizona Cardinals. You had guys like Marcus Golden, who they traded away a few weeks prior. You had Devon Kennard. So everybody was treating it was the Devon Kennard, Marcus Golden revenge
Justin
game.
Pugh.
Justin Pugh, correct. He's another one. Cleveland had a few guys. Odell didn't play. Freddie Kitchens took over as the play caller for Jason Garrett. All I've been hearing left and right has been revenge game after revenge game. And I get it. It's fun to talk about. No, I do not put any stock or substance in that. First of all, remember, Garrett already went up against the Cowboys earlier this season. So what happened? He left a little bit of more ammunition in his bag to then whip out in week 17. Is that what you guys are trying to sell me on? I don't buy it. Here's what I do think provides motivation. The Giants have lost 7 straight games to the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? They could get swept for the 4th straight season if they lose this game. If that's not enough motivation, and I know the guys have not been here for all of those games because there's been a lot of turnover. That, to me, though, provides motivation. An opportunity to win a game, to end the season, and then keep the door open to then win the division. That's enough motivation, okay? To try to right the ship on offense, to reach the end zone and punch it in for touchdowns. That's enough motivation. Going out and winning one for Jason Garrett, it's nice to say, it's nice to hear, but at the end of the day, it's a convenient media narrative, and I don't think it has any substance behind it.
Agreed.
We just like the storylines, but
sure. Hey, we got to fill up some time on this program, guys. Okay,
exactly.
So I'm all for it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's play storylines again a little bit. As we've been alluding to, someone has to win this division, but who would have the best chance of beating Tampa Bay when they host them in the wild card round? Who, it may not be the team that wins it, but who do you think would have the best chance and matches up with them the best?
Well, interestingly, the Giants played the Bucks already this season. It was a very tight Monday night affair, and the Bucks held on for the 2-point victory. I believe it was 25-23. The Giants went for 2 at the end to try to force overtime, and there was a flag that was thrown, if you guys recall, and then it was picked up. There was no pass interference. I thought it was a bang-bang play, so I had no problem with the flag being picked up. But in that game, I thought the Giants did a good job on the defensive side of the ball, flustering Brady in the offense. And then, like anything else, second half adjustments, you get a better feel for the Giants defense, and Brady was able to get in the end zone twice. So I think defensively, considering also there's members of the coaching staff who are familiar with Brady, I think the Giants defensively can match up decently with the Bucs. But the million-dollar question once again is, can the Giants manufacture points? So, that remains a big issue. Dallas, I wouldn't be worried about manufacturing points, because I think that they can, at least if they don't turn the ball over, they can score with the best of them. The question becomes, is the secondary going to be healthy enough to be able to slow down Tom Brady and company? So, that would be the question there. I go back to Washington, guys. I think if you were to pin me back and you were to say, is there one team in particular that matches up best against Tampa Bay? It's hard to overlook Washington. I think they have the best defense. I think they have the most consistent defense. I think you look at the guys up front that can put pressure on a Bucs offensive line that, at times has been a little hit or miss. I think they've been good, and Brady gets rid of the ball, but they can be prone to giving up sacks and pressures. So right there, check mark for Washington. The secondary has been solid because of what the front group has done. And then you look at the offense. Once again, assuming we're operating with Alex Smith healthy under center, I think they can run the ball effectively with Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, as well as Peyton Barber, a healthy Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas at tight end. I mean, they've proven they can move the ball in a variety of ways. It's hard to overlook Washington. I think Washington is by far the most balanced team, assuming everybody's healthy. So I like their chances the most in knocking off Tampa Bay. I think Dallas and the Giants, I think both of those teams can make things interesting, but compared to Washington, I think Dallas defense, still a question mark. And then the Giants, the offense, also a big question mark.
Mm-hmm. So who do you think actually does come out of the NFC East this weekend and plays Tampa?
Well, that's a great question. And I've been going back and forth myself left and right. I think if Alex Smith plays Sunday, I really like Washington's chances of beating Philadelphia, because I think their defense is good enough to get pressure on Jalen Hurts. I think that Jack Del Rio and that scheme has done wonders in terms of turning around a group that, let's face it, they pretty much brought back the core from 2019, but I think the guys have just been executing better. So there's a lot to like on the defensive side of the ball, but can you guarantee me Alex Smith is going to play? Okay, so if Alex Smith doesn't play, then I think that opens the door up for the winner of the Dallas Giants game. And right now, as good as the Giants defense has been, once again, what are we going to get out of this Giants offense on Sunday? What is this group going to be able to produce? They've gone through the last 3 games in which they've lost all 3. They've scored 26 total points, guys. They have found the end zone twice in terms of touchdowns. Now, I think that it's going to be a bit low scoring than the first game. The first game was 37-34. Each team got a defensive touchdown. Let's remove that. The likelihood of that happening again, I think, is slim. But Dallas's offense right now is clicking. They have a better feel in terms of the offensive line, as you pointed out earlier. I think Andy Dalton has now been back. He's healthy. So he's had time to get on the same page with the wide receivers. Zeke looks like he got a little bit of extra burst, having missed the game with the calf injury. The Giants defense is good enough to contain the Dallas offense. But is Dallas good enough to score more points than the Giants? I think we all need to ask ourselves that. And if you were to ask me right now, yes, I think the Dallas offense is good enough to outscore the Giants offense. So I would absolutely give the edge to the Cowboys going into this game.
My fear is they win and then Washington wins, and it was just all for naught.
And that could happen too. Listen, I think the Cowboys and Giants fan bases need to be prepared that you can get a tremendous victory on Sunday afternoon. And then Alex Smith, once again, maybe they wait to determine, because here's the thing. I actually thought, guys, it was a blessing in disguise for that game to be flexed, because now Alex Smith has essentially an extra day. Yep. They can rest him all day Sunday and then wait till the clock strikes 8:20 and then say, hey, Alex is ready to go. So, that to me opens the door for a little bit more flexibility for Washington. But getting back to your point, yeah, you could have an exhilarating win on Sunday afternoon, whether you're the Giants or the Cowboys. and then you could watch Washington go out and win and beat the Eagles. I can absolutely see that take place. But once again, I'm operating on both sides. Alex Smith plays, I like Washington's chances. Alex Smith doesn't play, then I think that really opens the door for the Giants and the Cowboys. And as it stands right now, the Dallas offense has proven they can put points on the board much more consistently than the Giants can do. And I think it's going to be a battle between not so much the defenses, guys. It's going to be a battle between which offense can reach the end zone more. And Dallas has proven they can absolutely do that much more effectively than the Giants could do at this point.
That's fair.
Now, before we get you out of here, obviously there's a lot of other intriguing games happening in the NFL. So outside of these two games in the NFC East this week, what game are you most looking forward to this weekend in the NFL?
Well, I'm looking forward to the race in the AFC South because Tennessee and Indianapolis, it's been a battle back and forth. So when you look at those matchups, and I know they're not playing each other, but one slips up, the other one wins. You know, that's the difference between guys getting the 4 seed versus being a wild card. And I know home field advantage may not prove to be as big of a factor this year with fans not filling up stadiums, but you know, if you can maybe wind up hosting an additional game if somebody gets upset and you don't have to travel in the midst of a global pandemic, I think that is a significant advantage. Tennessee's defense worries me immensely. I think that they have struggled to get to the opposing quarterback. They're dead last in sacks. So right now, I like Indianapolis's chances of winning their game. And then it becomes a matter of, you know, Tennessee, do they get into a situation where it's an offensive clinic and you got to go back and forth, you slip up, opposing team has the ball at the last second, and, you know, who knows? So, you know, those are 2 games and 2 teams that I'm monitoring, at least when it comes to the makeup of this weekend. The other game, I think, at least as we switch gears to the NFC, because I gave you at least 2 I'm looking at in the AFC, how can you not keep close tabs on Cardinals-Rams? That's a play-in game, right? You know, the winner goes to the playoffs. The loser could still get in, but the loser needs help. And we're going to have a battle between John Wolford, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Rams, because Jared Goff's out with a broken finger. And Wolford has never started a game in his NFL career, but he's also never appeared in an NFL regular season game. It's only been preseason games. So, you know, that's intriguing. And Kyler Murray is dealing with some bumps and bruises. It looks like he came out today and said he's going to play. I'm sure any other quarterback in his position would say the same thing. But, you know, this is a Rams team that I think has put a lot of pressure on its defense in recent weeks. And it's a Cardinals offense that also, I saw them a few weeks ago when they played the Giants. They looked as if they solved all their issues. And then over the last few weeks, it's been like, well, I don't recognize this Cardinals team. So, you know, both of these teams, very hard to get a gauge, guys, on them. Very hard to get a read on them. But if Murray's playing, you have to like the Cardinals' chances of producing on offense, even if it's a grinded out, low scoring affair. So, you know, that to me is the absolute must watch game in the NFC. And then the other matchups, we got so many AFC teams. It's win or get in, or it's win and watch what the other team does. So it's really hard to pick out a game, guys, under those circumstances. That's why, to me, the Tennessee-Indianapolis race for the AFC South title, I think that's the one to monitor come this weekend.
And that's why you need multiple TVs this weekend.
Absolutely. Yes.
And red zone.
All right, Lance, one last time, let everybody know where they can listen to you, where they can watch it, and how they can follow you on Twitter.
Absolutely. Well, how much more time are we up against in terms of
as long as you need?
As long as you need it.
Well, I would say that the best place to operate first is if you follow and interact with me on Twitter at Lance Medow, one word, last name, Medow, is the best way to see where I'm at any given time. But for the most part, I'm across the SiriusXM sports landscape, host shows on various channels, mainly Mad Dog Sports Radio, NFL Radio. I'm on every Saturday and Sunday on Mad Dog, channel 82, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern on Sundays during the season. Then we'll go back to 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern once the season comes to its conclusion. I host a daily talk show on Giants.com, Big Blue Kickoff Live. They could also hear me as part of the Giants radio network on the pre-half and post games, and do some work for Westwood One Sports as well in terms of hosting and play-by-play. So all across the sports landscape. In terms of giving you a short-winded answer, that doesn't exist when it comes to me, guys. So my sincere apologies on that front.
And make sure you listen to on every Saturday and Sunday because, like I've said to you before, smartest guy in sports, and you can talk anything. It's not just, like you said, NFC East. It's not just Giants. We could talk basketball. We could talk. I mean, Aiden's got a new basketball podcast for branded too. So I guarantee one day Lance is going to be on there.
Well, listen, like I said, guys, you want to put me to the test in terms of anything, I'm all for it. And by the way, the check is in the mail for that lovely intro in terms of the show. As soon as I speak to my accountant, I just want you guys to anticipate that it'll be coming shortly. Yes.
Thank you very much. It'll come before the stimulus comes.
We hope so. Yes. Yes. I can't promise anything with the U.S. Postal Service. You never know, guys, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lance. We appreciate it and enjoy the games this weekend.
Hey, you as well, guys. Always a pleasure coming on the program. A happy and a healthy new year to you and yours, as well as your viewers and listeners. And let's try to crown somebody out of the NFC East this weekend, okay? Can we at least get some conclusion to this race? That's what I'm hoping for.
Let's hope.
The grand finale of sorts.
Indeed. Guys, thanks for having me on. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Lance.
You got it.
All right. Thank you again to Lance Medow for coming on with us. Excellent encore from him. It was great because we had him in the middle of the season and we had him at the end of the season, like we referenced on the podcast interview. We'll probably have him on for draft season, but that was a fitting ending with one of our best guests of the year to have him on to talk the finale.
Yeah, no, it's a blast talking to Lance. He's so intelligent. He's so articulate. He knows his stuff, and he's just fun to talk to. He likes to have a good time too. So he kind of just fits in with you, myself, and producer Vince. So it's always a good time when Lance is on with us.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. We always it's the behind the scenes stuff. Maybe we'll do a show where we release all the behind the scenes footage. But he always cuts up with us afterwards, and we're still talking NFL after we're done. And you can tell he's good because one of the things you switched up the conversation right at the end, and we went from NFC East to just talking about NFL. Didn't phase him at all. He was like, "Here's what I'm looking for this weekend outside of the NFC East." But let's stay in the NFC East. We didn't really talk about it between us two. Your team's game matters. Our team, it matters for a different type of reason. But let's start with you first. So where's your confidence level right now with your team winning the division? Because I guess it's a twofold question. Winning and Washington losing.
I kind of still I'm in agreement with Lance here because I feel that if Alex Smith does play Sunday Night Football, I think Washington's going to find a way to win that game. Just seems like it's that kind of year, that kind of storyline with Washington, right? Their name is taken away. They don't have a freaking name. Their coach gets cancer. You know, Alex Smith had 147 surgeries. He wasn't supposed to walk again. And here he is, comeback player of the year, not only just showing up at a game, but winning games and leading this team and then having to fight back from injury again. So if he plays in this game, I don't know. I just see magic around it. I feel like they'll find a way to win because I also feel like the Eagles are just going to break my heart again because they always find a way to do it, even though we beat them last week. And, you know, it was kind of nice. It was so frustrating because, you know, again, I'm like, I want them to lose. And then the ball's kicked off and it's like, it's the fucking Eagles. No, kick the shit out of them. And they did. And I was happy. So now I could see them finding a way to win this game. But I don't know. I really don't know.
It would be a very Philadelphia thing for them to do. Winning benefits them in absolutely no way possible. So here's what would happen. It would tank your draft status. So you'd be picking closer to 7 or 10 instead of down in the top 5. And we can get into how much a tank actually benefits you. But, I mean, you can trade and get some picks. And the other thing, so our biggest rival to me, and I think to most Eagles fans, is the Cowboys. So you'd be opening the door for them to win this division. There's a reason this is birds versus boys and not birds versus Washington football team. Mm-hmm. So I think a very Eagles thing to do would try really hard and win this game for absolutely no reason. Make your rival look good and hurt your draft status. That sounds like something they would do.
And, you know, it's somehow, you know, Doug would get a pat on the back as he found a way to win the game, and Howie and Jalen. Yeah, it would just further, I feel like, the controversy in the city too. And I mean, I want to win the division now strictly kind of for one reason, because I want to get every piece of 2020 NFC East championship gear and just wear it on this show every episode.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have to own. I was fully planning on doing all that too, as a joke, like
Yeah,
how I
yeah,
broke out the cigar, or not the cigarette, the cigar, the robe, the cucumbers. Like I would totally lean into it.
Like whatever team wins this division, you have to embrace it as a joke, but you need to like wear the gear. Like, yeah, we were fucking 5-10, 6-9. We won the division. 7-9. We won the division.
Yeah, Vince brought it up before, the story he told in high school when he was given a JV All-Star shirt. Like that's the definition of like the pro version of wearing a JV All-Star shirt. It'd be perfect. You just have to lean into it. I hope it doesn't work out for you. I'm higher on the Giants than both of you guys are. I think they're the dark horse here.
Oh, no. I agree. I mean, Dallas is a 2.5-point favorite, but I think Wayne Gallman and that offense is going to run it down the Cowboys' throat.
I just think Daniel Jones is getting healthier and they're playing so well. The only thing that's hindered them in the back half of the season is that Daniel Jones got hurt. The closer he gets to being healthy, the better off they're going to be. So, again, this could be boiled down to simple. I say this all the time with the Eagles. Draft better players. If you have better players on the team, you're going to win. This could be so easy. The better quarterback that Washington has, the better chance they're going to have to win. So this division really comes down to there's so many things going on. But really what it is Alex Smith going to play or is he not going to play? If he does play, I really don't think the Eagles have a chance. The injury report, again, it's so funny. We started the season with Washington worried about the injury report, ending the season against Washington worried about the injury report. It was lengthy today, so I don't know, man. I could see Washington winning if Alex Smith wins or if he plays, and we have a lot of injuries on our side. It could be.
Do you see a guy like Fletcher Cox even trying to play in this game?
Why? Why?
Yep.
And like Brandon Brooks was activated for the practice window today. Okay. For what purpose? I don't think he'll play, but let's just use common sense. Why? Mm-hmm. You're eliminated. He actually is one of the few valuable pieces that you have on this team. Why? And Derek Barnett. Why? Josh Sweat. Why? All these guys. There's just no reason. Some guys are already on our IR. Like Rodney McLeod's not going to play. Avonte Maddox is not going to play. I touched on this last episode, but that secondary that was a shit show is the same secondary that's going to be out there this week. So I know they don't have the same caliber or wide receivers as the Cowboys do with CD, Gallup, and Cooper, but come on, that secondary is not an NFL secondary.
No, it's trash. It's complete trash. And on a different note, that's just in my brain here when I was just saying the record that the Cowboys or the Giants or Washington will be to win the division. How messed up are our brains going to be next year if they add a 17th game? We're so used to saying like 9-7, 8-8, 6-10. My brain is going to be in fucking shambles at the end of the year, being like, "What's the record?"
It still throws me off that there's 7 teams making the playoffs. And a perfect year to do it too, because in the AFC, Lance was bringing it up with the Colts and the Titans. But correct me if I'm wrong. One of those teams could win 11 games and not make the playoffs.
Yeah, there was a chance for like the Browns to go 11-4 and not make the playoffs a couple weeks ago.
11-5. Yes.
11-5, yeah.
Yeah, but just think about it. Like there could be a chance that one of those teams does not make the playoffs. It's insane.
It really is, because let me just look here.
I think what would benefit them. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you're looking it up. I think the Ravens could be the odd man out because they lost to the Titans. So say the Colts win the division. Okay, Colts win the division. Titans are a wild card. They're going to have the upper hand on the Ravens. I think that's what it is. But there are so many crazy scenarios.
Yeah, it's not pulling up here.
So you almost need we're greedy. It's the same thing with college football. There's 4 teams in the play. We were like, no, the BCS sucks. Do 4 teams. Do a playoff. Now we're like, all right, this 14 thing. Do 8 teams. We had 6
more.
We were like, no, we need 7. Now we're like, all right, maybe we need 8.
This kind of leads into our power rankings, famous TikTok power rankings, because we have so many good teams in this league right now and so many bad teams, so many teams making the playoffs, and a lot of them already eliminated, like eliminated Aidan. But before we get into the power rankings, give me your outcome for the NFC East this weekend.
I'm going to get bold with it. I think the Giants win the division. I think they win this game. that would mean that we win the game. And like I said, this is a very Eagles game to win. People are, what have you done for me lately? They have recency bias. They're going to look at Jalen Hurts and say, well, he won a Week 17 meaningless game against Washington. He should be the starting quarterback going forward. In reality, just like Lance said, it just comes down to if Alex Smith plays. If he does, I think they win the division. But it seems very iffy right now for a guy who had previous leg issues to be trying to force it on a calf injury. So I know that's a cop-out answer, and I gave you 2 teams, but I just need to know about Alex Smith. If he plays, they're in. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think if Alex Smith plays, Washington wins the division and goes on to play the Bucks. And because of that, I feel like Dallas is going to find a way to win this game, just because it's going to bite me in the ass a couple weeks ago when I said 3 wins was great. 4 wins, it's okay. I like that. 5 wins, not good. 6 wins, that's a fucking travesty. 7 wins and not winning the division would be fucking outrageous. So
It'd be
I feel
outlandish.
It's just, that's what's going to happen. They're going to win 7 games. They're going to go 7-9, not win the division. I'm not going to see a playoff game against Tom Brady. And, they're going to draft what? Outside 19th. The top 10? Yeah.
You draft 19th.
Yeah. Think about that.
But hey, you can find generational talents at 20.
Yeah, like Taco Charlton.
Like Justin Jefferson was there at 21. You could have, sometimes you're there, you could take a guy like that. Sometimes you don't.
Is he a good player? I don't know.
So I've heard.
Does he play for a team in purple, maybe?
I can't do another episode. I'm trying to stay relaxed. Like, this isn't my show. I don't deserve to even. The Eagles don't deserve for me to rant about them. Like, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve the spotlight at all.
Nope. We could say that for the offseason. But you know who does deserve the spotlight?
Vince.
Our power rankings. And famous TikToker producer Vince.
Come on in, you famous TikTok star. Look at the fame going to his head with these glasses he's wearing if you're watching on YouTube or on TikTok. Look at this.
Elton John glasses.
Oh, my goodness. He's got the glasses that all the kids are wearing on TikTok. All right. Last power rankings of the regular season. These are slowly going to dwindle. So how do we want to start it, guys? I'm assuming Vince is going last because he missed it last week, I believe. Yep. So who knows what's going to be up his sleeve this week?
Let's go. Eliminated Aidan, me, Vince, because, I always like being the bottom of the triangle.
And take it. All right. At number 1, I have the Packers. Struggling with the Falcons is an automatic demotion. I moved the Chiefs down because of that. The Packers are playing some of the best offensive football in the league. I think their offense is playing even better than the Chiefs. Aaron Rodgers is going to win MVP. The Packers are number 1.
So the Chiefs seem like a team that everyone says they can always turn it on when they want to turn it on, right? And just beat whoever they want to beat. Well, they did not look good in a win, like you said, against the Falcons. You get bumped down. So the Chiefs are not number 1 for me either. I am putting the Buffalo Bills at number 1. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Bills at number 1.
Wow. Vince?
I was not expecting something that would come out of my mouth to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys were talking earlier about how there's a lot of winners and like a lot of good teams in this league.
Oh God.
And I'm pretty bored of the winners. So I'm giving you my bottom 5. I'm giving you my power stankings of the week. So at number 28, I have the Jets. If you remember, they were in my top 5, but this defense just can't lose games like they used to.
I think that's the highest of the lowest they've been this year.
Yes. It's a shame for them.
Yeah, honestly. All right, at number 2, I do have the Chiefs. Like I said, automatic demotion if you struggle with the asshole Falcons, but they still are a really good team. Got to be the favorite in the AFC right now.
I have the Chiefs at number 2 as well. Wanted to put the Packers there, but I just felt like the Chiefs couldn't drop too far down, and I wanted to be a little bold this week and put the Bills at 1. So I have the Chiefs at 2.
At 29, I have the Falcons. It's a little bit of a homer pick, but they're that bad, and you know it.
Let me say one thing about the Falcons. So draft order this week is what's important to the Eagles. What's important is their draft order is going to be determined by teams like the Atlanta Falcons. So the Atlanta Falcons in week 17 with nothing to play for have one last chance to screw me over. And I can't wait to see how they do it. So Falcons, bring it on. One last time from me to you. Have the shittiest holiday season you could possibly have, you asshole terrorist organization. Number 3.
Nothing was worse for Atlanta than the AIDS epidemic.
That was probably bad that I said that. Number 3, I have the Bills. I love the Josh Allen MVP campaign. I touched on him and Stephon Diggs last show. That was during the Monday Night Football game before Stephon Diggs caught 3 touchdown passes. So I bumped them up to number 3 in the rankings. I really think a game against the Chiefs would – I know they lost to the Chiefs earlier, but I think it'd be more competitive this time around.
Agree. That's why I have them at number 1. Number 3 for me is the Packers. Like I said, I could have had them at number 2. Aaron Rodgers is my MVP. I also had Devontae Adams in my MVP rankings, 17 touchdowns. I question a little bit about the defense, but they are my top seed in the NFC, and I would love to see them in the Super Bowl.
At number 30, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. What a sorry sack of shit this franchise is. That's all I have to say.
That's all you can say, honestly. You know? Thanks a lot, Howie. You bump. At number 4, I have the Saints. They kind of got buried because they played on Christmas Day on a Friday. But Alvin Kamara, 6 touchdowns, kind of swayed fantasy football championships. But they're also a pretty complete team, and they've been playing really good football. They had a stretch, you can't lose to the Eagles 29th in Vince's power rankings or 30th or whatever. But I still think they're a really good team. They could challenge the Packers maybe a little bit in the NFC. So I have them at 4.
Same brain. Aidan, Kmess. Saints sitting at number 4 for me for all the same reasons that Aidan said.
At number 31, I could have the Jags. I could have, just the Bengals, just any number of bad teams. But I don't. I have the Tennessee Titans at number 31 because you can't tell me they're good. They're
Frauds.
not. You can't convince me they are.
Defense stinks.
Yeah, Lance brought it up. Their defense is so bad. Spent $15 million on Jadeveon Clowney. Haven't heard from him once. They kind of flopped on that free agency signing. So, you can't convince them that you're good, but they could also win the AFC South. So we'll see what that.
Someone's got to win the NFC East. Doesn't mean they're good.
That's true. You make a good point. I can't argue with that logic. All right, my final team. I couldn't leave them out of the power rankings for too long. I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got back on track. They beat a really good Colts team. Well, pretty good Colts team. But it did get them back on track going into the playoffs and finished 12-4.
I have the gold standard Pittsburgh Steelers sitting at 5 as well. When I saw that they said the Colts knew what plays were coming in the first half, and then Big Ben took over play calling in the second half, they came back and won. I said, yep, they still got to stay in the power rankings. Steelers at 5. Why are you laughing?
At number 32.
Oh, no.
At number 32, the worst team in the NFL, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers because their success is fake. They are not good. It's criminal what they're doing to their own fans. They're being hoodwinked and bamboozled. They're going to get bounced in the first round. They're not good.
Listen, man, I've bought into the Ponzi scheme. I'm too far in. I had a friend tell me, and then I have to tell 3 friends.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Steelers. I've come too far. I can't go back.
Hey, so we all have the same team in our fifth spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fifth, and 32nd.
Yeah,
the 5th team we said today.
I was wondering why Vince was cracking up, and I knew something was being concocted in his chaotic brain.
It was just the realization that, when I made this list, I wasn't considering that you guys would also have this team in your top 5, and then when we all were going to say it at the same time, it's just a nice little bow on this this power rankings. And
1,
power stankings.
2, 3, Steelers.
All right.
And to all you TikTokers out there, yes, I'm a Cowboys fan. Okay, I have 2 fucking banners. They're not both for me. I'm just a Cowboys fan. This is for my wife. And yes, this is a Cowboys fan and Eagles fans talking together.
Yeah, that's not going to make it in the TikTok, but
I know. When they
couldn't pick
listen
a
back
better
here,
way to end the power rankings for the year. Us all talking about the Steelers all year, only for Vince to put them last and for us to put them in the power rankings. That sums it up. We still have a few good weeks left with the power rankings going into the wild card round. And who knows? Maybe the Cowboys are in it. I know the Eagles won't be in it. I already said my eulogy for them. So goodbye, farewell. Kevin, if you have anything else, I think it will put a bow on 2020, on the NFL regular season, and on the Birds versus Boys in this season.
I'm too fucking far in now. I was never out. I've been in the whole season. Never did I blink. Never was I worried. Never did I think that this team should lose every game of the season. I thought this team had a chance to win this division and make a deep playoff run like the Eagles did in 2017 all season long. The Dallas Cowboys are not fully healthy, but they have the right pieces there. They have the backup quarterback, just like the Eagles did in 2017, and they're ready to take down Tom Brady. So all they need to do is a little help from Philadelphia. Philly, give me a little help, beat the Giants, and we're in the dance, baby. We're going dancing, and I need some championship gear. So I'm all in. I've been all in. We get the 19th pick. We'll figure out. Go Cowboys. Enjoy your stateside vodka, eliminated Aidan and Elton John.
I tried to put a nice bow on it, and then we got hit with that propaganda.
I'm just glad I didn't win the nonsense award for this episode.
Oh man. I think that puts a bow on it.
And just so you can win your bet, my bicep hurts.
That's 3. Over.
Happy New Year. Enjoy 2021. We will see you next week. Celebrate responsibly, please.
Credit to me. Pat myself on the back for not cracking up laughing when Kevin said about, and then you texted, I was laughing again. You were like Randy Gregory taking him from behind, and I was just like, I was sitting here, I was like clenched. I was like, I can't move. If I move, I'll laugh.
I didn't even know I said that.
It's so hard to stay professional. Oh fuck.
I was texting Vince.
I finally got it back where I wasn't gonna break down and cry tears of laughter. And doesn't Vince text taking him from behind?
Looks like you lost another one.